Forward to the clock. One day my voice is going to sound like hers, and then y'all will be all confused. Um, Hello everyone. Welcome to this frozen morning. I don't know if everyone survived the walk over to Patton. I told Heather I think I look like a raccoon because my eyes were just watering. It's so cold outside. Yeah, I think everybody's done it, but if you haven't put your name in the chat, put your name in the chat. That's how we're doing the doolally attendance. This probably will not go an hour, just forewarning you, because sharing is, once you have the basics of it, it is kind of the same throughout. So, we'll keep this kind of short. Um, Heather and I are tag teaming yet again, and I am going to share my screen if I can make this bigger so that. Hey, Jana, put your name in the thingy for the attendance. Um, Screen two.
In the chat. She means in the chat.
Yeah, that's what I meant. The thingy. Okay, so I have open my test team, which is internal, and I have the IT external and my OneDrive open. They're gonna basically be the same. Obviously, just the whole caveat that we've been saying all along, internal, you can only share with each other on the team. It's restricted to that. External, you can share outside of the team and outside of the college. Same with OneDrive. So there's a kind of two different little flavors of that. Um, no matter where you are, you never exclamation point, bold, want to share at from the top level. Like you can see, why is this not popping? You can see the members of your team by clicking the little people number of members, but do not share at this level. The only time that you would add members if you're an owner of the team and there's somebody you just hired onto your department's team. That's the only time that you would be able to do that. And you can only really do it on the external site. Um, we add these members through ASAR. When you're sharing with people, you want to do it from the folder or the file level, no matter if you're in your internal, your external, or your OneDrive. You have to do it on the folder or file level. Um, so let's go to my folders and my files. Um, you guys can all see when you hover, you'll see the little share icon. You can click that. Um, I don't know why mine is just going slow today. So let's just all watch it spin. Um, and we've touched on this before in other trainings. The share dialogue, there's a pre-email migration version and then a post-email migration version. So if I wanted to share this with, look, I share with Heather so much, she's first in the line. If I wanted to share with Heather, type her name in, you select her, you make sure it has the appropriate level. Like if you just want somebody to view that stuff in that folder, make sure the eyeballs picked. If you want them to be able to edit what's in that folder or that file, make sure the pencil is clicked. At this point, before we've migrated email, the message is not going to matter. That will only matter when we've migrated email and you can click send because that send button is hardwired to Outlook. So this is pre-email migration, copy link, post-email migration. Um, what I typically do is just copy the link, go to Gmail, send Heather a Gmail and say, this is shared with you and paste the link. there's a couple different ways that you can see who has access to that file already. You can tell right here, there's lot of little bubbles. And now that I've shared it with Heather, Heather's face is showing up. Typically, if it's groups, you'll see just the placeholder. If you've shared it with a person and they've uploaded their picture, you'll see their picture or maybe their initials or whatever. Um, so you can see it there. I think you can click it. Yeah. So you can click it and get to that manage access. Nope, that's not it. Oh, crap. Sorry. The other manage access is this little ellipsis. No. Why is that different? Okay. Ignore what I'm saying right there because I guess that's the other dialogue. Um, so let's go to that. The ellipsis here and manage access is another way you can see who has access. And that's it. So you can get to that share dialogue right here that I was just on. You can see who has, I've shared it individually with Heather. These are the groups that have access to that folder, and you can edit the groups. And if you've created any kind of link, which I did for Heather because I can't send it directly to her through email. You can also click this little People Plus up here, and that gives you the ability to add a group or do more granular kind of access to it. So I'm just going to do IT team. Yeah, that's our internal team. Right now, I don't want to notify people because it's hard coded to go to Outlook. Once we've migrated email, just leave that checked and they'll receive an email. Grant access. If I do it this way before we migrate email, then I have to grab the link and give them the link to it. Copy link. Um, so you can see there's many different ways and different levels to share it and manage the access and see who has access to that folder or file in the internal team, which is the same for the external team, but asterisk, you can share it outside. And I'm going to show you that in just a second. So has everybody got that so far? I typically go to manage access to share a file. I don't know, Heather, do you do that or do you just use the share?
I usually use share unless I need like something super granular, but that's not super common.
Yeah. Um, but I'd get in the habit of looking at manage access so that you guys are familiar with who has access to that folder or file. Because then you can do that manage access in your external and your OneDrive as well. Okay, so sharing outside of the college. Um, Again, we never share at this top level, never ever, because if you share at this top level, who they can see everything in that site. So you want to do granular permissions or sharing on the folder or file. So I'm just going to use this thing that I'll probably delete and go to manage or share. Well, um, where is that? I know I saw it somewhere else. Maybe it's just here and I'm not remembering correctly. So here you can see I've already tested this, so that's why my personal email's in there. You can share outside. Um, you know what? I don't know what. That's not what I picked. Yes, I have multiple personal emails. Okay. Something's kind of jacked up with my other one, but this is my personal email. and I'm going to do edit, and let's just see if it sends. So I'm going to get my phone. Um, I don't think it is going to send it externally. Always grab the link and send it as a backup until we've migrated to email. Um, yeah, that didn't send anything. So make sure you copy the link, even if it's an external um, share, and email them the link to the folder. So share. Now I'm going to click here and get to that manage access. And this is my personal one. So you can, scroll through here and see who all has access. And this one is my external user. So is that pretty clear? Never share at the top level, and you can only share external to on your external site. Now, OneDrive makes it a little bit easier because you can see at a glance if things are shared, private, who the owner is, and all of that. But it works the same way. You have the same options, manage access or share. And I might have tested this one. No, let's see. Ta-da. Um, so this gives you the ability to do the same thing. You can share external to the college. You can share with each other. Um, if somebody is sharing something with you, you can go to the shared, and things that people have shared with you will show up here, and who shared it with you. So these are like already preset filtered things for your OneDrive. Am I missing anything on this, Heather?
Only like when should we use which parts? Like when should I use internal versus external versus OneDrive?
Okay. So internal, here, I can stop sharing. I'm going to give you guys share whiplash. Um, so Sarah's just clapping. Um, so internal, if you're sharing on internal, you're creating something on the internal site. Let's say I've created something on IT internal site and I want Heather to look at it and edit whatever I created. Maybe I'm just grabbing the link since she already has access to it. So I'll copy link and give it to her. Um, it might be where you have to know if you're in a channel, a private sub channel of the internal site, and you might have to move it because you can't share outside that. So you kind of have to be aware of where your file is in the internal site. Um, Mostly sharing on an internal site is you're just going to grab the link and give it to people who already have access to that.
And those are going to
External
be the people on your team.
on your team, yes.
So if you're looking to share something with someone on your team exclusively, that's an internal sort of share.
Yeah, but the only gotcha is if you have a private sub channel. Let's say Heather and I have a private sub channel on our internal site for Microsoft, and we've got to share something with Jason Husk. He can't see that because that channel is just Heather and I. So we've got to take that document or folder out of that and put it with the main team for him to be able to access it, which moving is super easy. I've told you guys a ton of times, and so is Heather. It's 3 clicks and you can move it to whatever other site that you have permission to. So, you just click the ellipsis, move to, select the site, and okay, move here. Um, External is like Sarah Parlier is creating something in teaching and learning, external, and needs to share it with Heather, Leah, and I. So then she would, right click, share, put our names in there, copy the link, and send it to us. OneDrive is your personal place and for your temporary working files. So think of it as like Google Drive, but that functionality has been moved partially to your external site. If it's working team documents, you want it on your external site and be able to share it out from there. If it's just your personal, these are my working documents in OneDrive, and I need Heather to see a quick email that I drafted up, I can share it in my OneDrive to Heather or Bob.
So, like, another benefit of the teams is that the teams stuff that you store in there persists even after you win the lottery and decide that you're done with everything. So one thing to like consider is like, is this document important to your team and you need it to continue existing? If so, it should be saved to either your internal or your external site. Because
Yeah,
if you save it to your OneDrive, OneDrives go away after a very small period when you leave.
yep. And I mean, I know we say that in every single training, but I need everybody to hear that to their core because there is no magic that we can do to get that stuff back. Um, and it's going to take a while for people to grasp the difference between the external and OneDrive, because you can do the same stuff. But when you step back and you think of the team mentality and the collaboration of the team, um, that's the lens you need to use of whether to save it in OneDrive and share it or save it in your team and share it. Um, just what Heather said. If it's going to benefit the team or it needs to be retained for the team for the long haul, put it in the team site and then share it from there. Um,
Or
one,
if you're
go ahead.
or if your whole team is working on it and you want to use the other Microsoft tools, save it in the team and then you can utilize it on team site.
Yeah, yeah. Because Teams is going to be the portal that you guys are using. I didn't mean to say porthole. um, yeah. So yeah, and we've showed you guys how to work with the porthole. We've showed you guys how to work with your files on your computer, on in your file explorer. Um, I'm not real sure. I don't even think. Let's just try it. Have we tried to share stuff from there?
I, by all means, show it. And I think that it cannot be like shown enough that your team site stuff and your OneDrive stuff can be added to your file browser, like Amy's going to do right here.
Yeah. So yeah. Now it looks like it's using your little OneDrive connector, or it looks like it's using my OneDrive connector. Yeah. So the same thing pops up. Um, it's going to be glorious day when we can use the send button. So you could do the same thing and copy the link and send it to, email it to whoever you're sharing it with. Um, I can't add my personal email because I already added it, but so yeah, it'll give you the same functionality. And with Windows 11, you can see that this is changing. I mean, so now we've got these little buttons up here, um, that give you the capability of sharing. Same here. Manage access. Ooh, you can change the color right here. Look at that. My favorite.
The share icon is also one of those that's included on the bar at the top if you don't
Oh
like right
yeah.
clicking on things. So you can do it from there as well.
Yeah. Look at that. Um, The other thing, and I'm glad Julie's on this call because the weekly leadership notes. So coming up with a way for the weekly notes for leadership, all divisions do it. Many of us contribute to those notes. So there's got to be a window where staff or employees contribute to the notes. And then at the end of the week, it's set to read only. So this is the answer to that in Google to create two folders. One is just on the external site, and one is just for staff, and it has edit access. I put staff notes for leadership edit just so you can name it whatever you want. But then so the employees can contribute to the notes. On Friday, you do the move, the ellipsis, move to, then move it to the leadership folder, which leadership already has read access to that folder anyway. So you move the folder, not copy, move it to the leadership notes read only folder, and then just double check by manage access that everybody has the appropriate access. So if it for some reason retained the ability for staff to edit, you can just reset that and change it to view only, and make sure that the leadership team has access to it. So there is an article for that. And actually, this is Chat GPT came up with this, not I. I just said, what's the best way to do this? And this is what it gave me. So it seems pretty straightforward and this steps you through. So all you people that manage the leadership notes for the division or the department, we have an article for you. But it all includes always checking the access of that file after you've moved it. Make sure it matches what it's supposed to. And if it doesn't, just a couple clicks and you can fix it. Now I'm going to stop sharing again because I love doing that whiplash. All right. Does anybody have any share questions?
I have a quick question that's more of just like for my own personal clarification. But within team sharing, like your internal and external sites,
Mhm.
any file that exists in either one of those sites, everyone on your team by default has edit access. Is that correct?
Yes, asterisk. If you're starting to use the channels, if there's a sub channel that's private, which means it's a subset of the team,
Hmm.
not everybody can access that. Not everybody can even see it. Just the members of that channel can see it.
Okay.
So, yes, by default at the top level, they have edit access to all the stuff except for the private channels.
Which
They
is
cannot.
why you don't want to add people at the top level,
Yeah,
because then they get access to a bunch of stuff you didn't mean them to have access to.
yeah, especially on your external site.
So if you're sharing something within your team, trying to figure out how to say it correctly, you're not really sharing it with them. You might just be saying, hey, here's like basically the
Here's,
quick link so you can
yeah,
access it faster.
yeah,
But they
yeah,
would already have edit access to it anyways.
right,
Okay.
right. Because as these folders grow, people are, oh, do you see that? I hit myself. As the folders grow, I mean, you're gonna be like, I have no idea where is that? So you can just grab the link and give it to them.
Okay.
And then you'll know if it's in one of those sub channels and they're like, wait a second, I can't see that. And you're like, oh, okay, that's why it's a sub channel. Oh, yeah, it's Kevin, it's in the here. Share whiplash. Here we go. Ready? Um, so to get there, on the insider, this top um, navigation bar, it's the first one, technology knowledge base. That's where all our articles are. Um, And am I logged in? Yeah, sorry. Sorry, scroll. Everybody close your eyes. I'm sorry.
One eternity later.
Yeah. So under employees, which you will see, I see all the help desk and system stuff, but under employees, which is looks like that, you'll see Microsoft 365. That's where all of these articles are, and we keep adding to them. We keep adding to them. I haven't really sorted it out, so I know it's towards the end. Weekly leadership notes. Um, and you can always search up here um, for whatever you're looking for. If you're looking on how to transfer ownership of a OneDrive file or whatever, um, this is, we add to this almost daily now with the questions that we get. So you have access to that, but the quick way is just go to the Insider and click the useful links, technology knowledge base. I'm gonna stop sharing. Whiplash. All right. Any more questions? No, everybody's an expert at sharing now. Always remember, right click and manage access will give you all the information you need and access to the share thing. All right, I told you guys it would not be an hour. Now we can all warm up and drink some hot chocolate. Awesome. Well, I'm going to stop recording.